Well, my friends, Biden is losing it. In a recent speech at the House Democratic Caucus Issues Conference on Friday in Philadelphia, Joe Biden lashed out at the public for blaming him for inflation, going on to say that if Republicans defeat Democrats in the midterms, he's going to be a useless president with nothing more than a veto pen. How Joe Biden is losing his mind as the Biden administration crumbles. And in other news, YouTube deleted a Trump interview on the Full Send podcast that got over 5 million views in 24 hours. Social media companies fear Donald Trump. Hey, guys, gals, and pals, Mr. Obvious here. And today, we're going to be talking about some very dastardly comments and events here on the Daily Mail. I'm sick of this stuff. Biden tears into people blaming him for inflation and warns Democrats he will only have a veto pen if they lose to Republicans in the midterms. So Joe Biden is in total panic mode right now. But we're going to talk about this stuff, folks, and more. But before we do, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for updates for future content, and if you like the work that I do, please share these videos with your family and friends and on social media. And now, a word from our sponsor. Introducing Webull. Webull is a trading app where you can buy and sell cryptocurrency and stocks. Open a Webull account today, download the app, and deposit any amount of money, and you will receive 5 free stocks worth up to $9,600. The minimum is like 27 bucks, so really it's free money and you can't lose. There's also a $5 crypto reward when you make your first cryptocurrency trade. Join today by clicking the link down below. And we're back. Okay, so let's just jump right in. The Full Send podcast is a pretty big podcast on YouTube with over 1.2 million subscribers. Recently, and I actually saw the video pop up on YouTube while I was browsing, a man named Kyle, I believe it's Forgered, did an interview with Donald J. Trump. And here you can see on Twitter where he posts about it. Here he says, YouTube has deleted our Trump episode that got over 5 million views in 24 hours. And you can see here the screenshot. This video has been removed for violating YouTube's community guidelines. And there's another screenshot and you can see it here. I'll read it to you. YouTube. Hi, Full Send Podcast. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our misinformation policy. We've removed the following content from YouTube. Video. Donald Trump on WW3, talking to Putin and Joe Rogan. Full Send Podcast. And you can see here that they received a guidelines strike. Luckily, it's their warning strike. Unluckily, warning strikes never, ever, ever expire. So essentially, this guy has a permanent scar on his channel. Why? Because Donald J. Trump was on YouTube. Now, I believe the reason that they took the video down was because Donald Trump brought up the election and brought up swing states. YouTube didn't like that. No, no, no. And YouTube's rationale for this is that they want to protect the integrity of the election. No one is allowed to question the integrity of the election. The implication being that our elections have integrity. You're hilarious, man. Unfortunately, because of the massive censorship, I gotta be really careful about how I talk about this. That being said, you know what this sounds like to me when they say things like that? Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a church, okay? I'm not talking about any church in specific or any religion, it's just an example. Let's say you have a church and there's a head priest. And let's say that a young priest one day goes to that church. He's very excited. He wants to be a great priest and change the world and help many people. However, he catches the head priest fooling around with one of the choir boys. Very inappropriate. So he goes to the higher priest and he says, hey, I saw the head priest doing bad things. We need to do something about this. And the higher priest says, my son, you must keep this between you and me. Father head priest has been head priest for 30 years. If this secret were to come out, you would destroy the sanctity of the church. If you make a problem of this, you will be banned from the church and you will no longer be a priest. Ah, yes. What is the young priest to do? He can't speak up or he loses his dream, being a good priest. And he won't be able to do good in his community. He's being forced to be silent. That's literally YouTube. When YouTube says, you're not allowed to question, you can't post this content, you can't have this opinion because you'll damage the integrity of the election. It sounds a lot like the head priest saying, you'll destroy the sanctity of the church. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. I'm going to bring up an old poll. I actually covered this poll on one of my videos here in the Daily Mail. According to a new poll, 54% think Biden won the presidential election. A new poll shows. This is an insane poll, because essentially it means that 46% of America doesn't even believe that Biden won the presidency. What are you gonna do? And I brought up this point in my video. What happens when less than 50% of America actually believes that he won? Because guess what? The number's been going down. Yeah, it used to be higher. More of America used to think that Biden won the election, but as time goes on, that number gets lower and lower and lower, at least according to this poll. So I ask again, what happens when people no longer believe in elections? What happens when people no longer believe in Biden? It's a very interesting question, isn't it? But it's one that is not allowed to be discussed. Which brings us to today's main story. I want to talk about Biden crying about being blamed, rightfully, for the fact that he screwed up this country. So he was at this Democrat event, and he was going off on everyone. How dare people blame me for inflation? It was Putin. It was Putin. He mentions the Keystone pipeline that he closed and says, come on, man, it wasn't even done. We scrapped it. Like, seriously? Biden, are you an idiot? And then he goes on to warn Democrats that if Democrats get destroyed in the midterms, which we all know they will, they're going to be in big, big trouble because effectively Biden will be a useless president. The Democrats will be able to get nothing passed whatsoever. And honestly, they deserve it. It's been utter hell under Joe Biden. It's been bad. Inflation at all-time highs, the cost of food, the cost of gas, literally everything is up. Ridiculous. Like, nobody can afford this. Oh, and guess what? Well, people can't afford to pay for gas. Congress literally just gave itself a 21% raise. 21%. I see that inflation is at 7.9%. A 10% salary increase would not be enough. Double it. That's pretty much how I imagine it went. Like, 21% raise? Are you kidding me? Most people are lucky to get a 5% raise. And hey, right now, that would actually be less than inflation. So that would be more like a pay cut. Yeah. Come on, man. Move by the wall and the fence in the field. I got hairy legs. So precedent and polling make Republicans look poised to take back control of the House, and possibly the Senate too, with Democrats already only holding on to a razor-thin majority. So, see, this is the big news. For a long time now, we've been discussing this, that the midterms are very likely to be a Democrat bloodbath. Before, I had a little doubt. I was like, people love the Democrats. It's like a total cult. But after everything that's happened with this war and gas, I think Democrats are finished. I think they're going to be obliterated. Hell, in the comment section for this article, let me read it here. Roboco1 from Mid-Ohio says, unless there was cheating, they're toast. Yes, exactly. And, this kind of relates to Trump having his 6 million view interview deleted off of YouTube. Why can't the president talk about politicians cheating? Because we all know it happens. It happens all the time. Do you think that every vote is magically a valid vote? What if an illegal citizen votes using a false identity? Is that a legitimate vote that we should count? I'm not referring to anything specific. I'm just saying, not every vote is going to be legitimate vote. That's just how it works. Statistics. Yet we're supposed to believe, that cheating doesn't exist. Because in my view, I do believe that Democrats cheat. I think they cheat all the time. I remember some of the turnout rates. And in some of these Democrat cities, voter turnout was 105%. In other words, more people voted than actually exist in those cities. Well, gee, how does that happen? This is typically something that happens in places like North Korea or Mother Russia and is indicative of cheating. You get the point. I want to show you something. Here on CNN, nearly 1 in 5 mail-in ballots in the Houston area were rejected because of the new Texas voting law, election officials say. So, In many red states, there have been voting law reforms that basically give more security and more integrity to voting. Now, Democrats push the narrative that, oh my God, these Republicans, look, 1 in 5 mail ballots were rejected. Those evil Republicans are suppressing the vote. That's not what's going on. 1 in 5 mail-in ballots are being rejected in the Houston area because 1 in 5 mail-in ballots are invalid. Maybe it's a fake identity, maybe it's the wrong address, maybe it was just filed wrong. That's not the point. It is a good thing to have secure elections. Common sense voting laws. But Democrats do not want election integrity. And why wouldn't you want election integrity? Well, I can only be suspicious that you're trying to cheat. And that's my point. We should be able to discuss these issues because guess what? Republicans can also cheat. Do we really want to live in a world where we're not allowed to discuss elections and discuss voting and then everyone's just cheating all the time? Well, we don't really have a democracy or a republic, which is what we really are, at all in that case. So yeah, we need common sense voting laws. We need security. We need voter ID. We need to fix this stuff because nobody should cheat. That's something I think we can all agree on. Unless, of course, you're doing the cheating, but again, there you go. But that, my friends, is pretty much the story. I'm just really disgusted by everything going on right now. Biden was on TV telling, 9-year-olds that they had to wear masks until they were 30 years old. Disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. I am sick of these people. I am sick of these Democrats. And I hope that come the midterms, they get what they deserve. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this story? Be sure to tell me down below in the comment section. As always, support the channel by joining me on Patreon or Subscribestar, as this channel is currently not monetized. It is supported by viewers like you. Anyways, thanks for watching, folks. Have a wonderful day, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you all next time.